Are we watching the next dynasty in real time with this Oklahoma City Thunder team? Talking about that next. All right, so the Oklahoma City Thunder are obviously rolling through the playoffs right now. They are 7-0 so far. They swept the Phoenix Suns, and they seem to be on the verge of sweeping the LA Lakers after picking up the third game in 3 games of that series. They're up 3-0 on the Lakers. And really, this is just a bigger topic because we got to talk about this. The Thunder obviously are coming off a championship run last year. They win the championship. SGA is incredible. We know that. He's the head of the snake, right? But the thing about this Thunder team now in this season is that they seem deeper. Usually teams, when they win the championship, the team starts, kind of breaking up little by little. Pieces leave, right? I mean, the Alex Caruso types, the Isaiah Hartenstein types, right? Those guys, they get a bigger contract somewhere else, or they just, it's hard for teams to keep talent like that together, especially now when there's the second apron coming around where essentially good teams that have good players get punished for keeping said good players, right? They get capped out. They have to pay extra tax. They can't make moves. They can't trade players. So the Thunder, you would think, are, having their nice little run now. And all right, this run soon will come to an end because they've paid SGA. They paid Jalen Williams, Chad Holmgren. But those guys are going to have to, how are you going to keep the Lou Dorts, the Hartenstein, the Alex Caruso, the Isaiah Joes? Like, I can go on, and I haven't even talked about AJ Mitchell yet. So, but the reality is that you got to give their front office so much credit because we're watching this play out in real time. I mean, they traded for Jared McCain mid-season right now, right? And McCain has come in and been a little spark in this series. He's still contributing, right? And he's like their 11th guy. So they've just done an incredible job of building depth. And what that does is it allows you to be able to take those hits of those great role players essentially leaving, right? I mean, look at the Timberwolves, right? They had a great team last year, and they couldn't keep everybody. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker left and got paid somewhere else. Now, who takes his role, right? Is it Ayo Dosunmu who you brought in? Like, that's the situation. That's what ends up happening with good teams like that. So it's one of those things, a championship team like the Celtics. Well, they couldn't keep everybody, second apron, right? So Drew Holiday gets dealt. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. Like, the Thunder, that's the normal progression, but it looks like they don't even have to deal with that because of how deep they are. So even this offseason, I'm not even trying to take away from the talent that they have at the top of the roster or like how good these guys are. Like Lou Dort, I think, is a hell of a defender and a great player. But if you can't pay him and you have to lose Lou Dort, is it over? Is it, how significant is the drop-off from Lou Dort to Isaiah Joe playing those minutes now? Maybe it's significant, but is it that significant to, Drew Holiday, leaving, and then you have to have Anthony Simons play some regular season minutes in his position? So, like, the drop-off with the Thunder is set up so that there isn't that big of a drop-off. Right now, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, the second best player pretty much, he hasn't even played these playoffs. And they're 7-0. And yes, I know, I get it. They played a play-in team in the Phoenix Suns. They played a Lakers team without Luka Doncic. But realistically, it's just like, it's that we're all making excuses for the Lakers saying, okay, well, they don't have their best player. Well, the Thunder don't have their second best player, right? And so it's insane. So that how deep this team is wild. And the perfect example is AJ Mitchell. This guy comes in. He wasn't even part of the playoff run last year. He was injured. Well, he comes in. He starts because J-Dub's out. So he's playing the J-Dub role. And in game 3, he finished with 24 points and 10 assists. How much did they miss J-Dub in game 3 against the Lakers? Right? And that's the thing. And it's not just game 3 against the Lakers. How much did they miss him in game 2? How much did they miss him in game 1? That's just the greatness of a team that drafts well, develops well, and a front office that's, I would say, the best in the league. And I think it's funny that people hate on the Thunder They want to talk about the foul calls and all this and whatnot. Sure, hate on them all you want, but really you're just jealous because they're just really good. They're really damn good. And the front office is just incredible. And guess what? Even they had the 12th pick, I think it was last year in the draft. They got Thomas Torber, a big from, I believe it was UConn. Or Georgetown or Connecticut. One of those, right? And he hasn't even played. And yeah, he's a project. But what if in 2 years he's good? Guess what that means? Can he play the Isaiah Hartenstein minutes? Because if he's productive, great. And that's just how it goes. And I mean, it's just really wild to see how good they've been doing. And now in this year's lottery, right? The lottery's coming up. The Thunder, because of a great trade with the LA Clippers, have a 7.1% chance of landing a top 4 pick and have a 1.5% chance of landing the number 1 pick. And I know people are praying. They can't stand it if the Thunder get a top 4 or the number 1 pick. But the fact that people have hated on them so much and, accuse them of foul baiting and all these things is y'all making me root for them to get a top pick. I kind of want to see them get a top pick because I believe in rewarding good GMing. I believe in rewarding good coaching, good players. Like you reward that, right? These good players are going to get rewarded, whether it's with the Thunder or somewhere else. And that's the thing. These guys, they play well. It's a system. It works perfectly. Isaiah Joe, if he's a free agent, he's going to get a good deal, right? You think AJ Mitchell is going to be looked over by other teams? He looks like how Jalen Brunson looked like when he was with the Mavericks. And again, it's just, I just really, really respect how the Thunder organization has done it. Now, the reason I'm bringing up the dynasty word is because they're positioned to maybe go back to back, and they're young enough to where this core has pieces that can come in. I mean, Nikola Topic, he was killing it in summer league, and he saw 3 minutes in a blowout win against the Lakers. He barely plays, right? And maybe if Isaiah Joe, I'm just using Isaiah Joe, I don't know what his contract situation is. If next year he's off in free agency, well, Nikola Topic has had 2 years he's had injuries and, he's dealt with some stuff, but he's had 2 years to essentially become ready to play those 18 minutes in a game 3 of the playoffs and score 12 points for you. It's just a factory, man. It's insane. Now, the real question becomes when SGA, if this dynasty keeps going, right? If they maintain AJ Mitchell and he looks he already looks like the part, right? Like he looks like he's got it. What do you do then later? And that's where the business becomes cutthroat because, when SGA is 32, those decisions get tough, right? Because then it's like, oh man, are you going to keep the younger guy and let the older guy go who's done so much for your franchise? And I will say good GMs also know when to move off of certain pieces. Now, they're not near that point, but it won't be SGA, but again, I said, if Thomas Sorber comes in, for example, and shows that he can be a really good center, and it gets to the point where you're like, damn, well, we got to pay AJ Mitchell now. We got to pay SGA, obviously. We got to pay J-Dub, and Chet wants to get paid. Maybe we'll move off of Chet Holmgren. And Thomas Sorber, I'm just using Sorber as an example because he's a center. I don't think they play nearly at all the same kind of game, him and Chet Holmgren, but let's just pretend for example's sake. If he can play those minutes, and he's on a cheaper deal, then maybe they deal Chet Holmgren, and guess what they'll fetch for Chet Holmgren? High draft picks, which then they could use to draft the next point guard that when SGA gets too old, he's been developed for seasons to come. So I just think that the way they're doing it is insane. Sam Presti, give this man executive GM of the year every single year with what he's done so far. And again, really, I mean, it's on the league if they want to have a chance to, win and compete. It's either going to have to be with bad draft picks that at some point the Thunder slip up and draft poorly. And it's either that or that they don't move off of guys early enough and they move off of the wrong guys, right? So, like I said, say AJ Mitchell becomes the next SGA and then they decide to keep SGA at 32 years old, and he doesn't have many good years left at that point. And then, because of them keeping SGA, they had to let AJ Mitchell walk, for example's sake, and then he becomes the star someone else. And you could have had 5 more good years with AJ Mitchell playing in SGA's role. That's when maybe the downfall starts. And again, it's so early to talk about dynasties. I mean, but no team has gone back-to-back since the Warriors. And I would even argue the Warriors weren't even set up as good as the Thunder team was, right? I mean, they had their core, but their core was all around the same age. And it's not like when they drafted James Wiseman that they were like, oh, it wasn't like that kid showed flashes. Now they were like, oh, now this could become his team in 5 years. He was kind of a bust. But with the Thunder, like I said, AJ Mitchell don't look like a bust. I mean, Jared McCain's playing nice minutes. Isaiah Joe can play. Aaron Wiggins can play. Cason Wallace can play. Right? He's the one that if you lose Lou Dort, all right, Cason Wallace, you got it. I mean, hell, even today, in game 3, Lou Dort had 10 points in 20 minutes. And Cason Wallace in 25 minutes had 16 points. He's ready. Lou Dort's on a bigger contract. So, all right, Lou Dort, maybe they trade Lou Dort. Maybe that fetches them a first-round pick. And now they can just keep doing this over and over again. So, again, just something to watch and something to talk about because I really think what they're doing is incredible. So, shout out to the Thunder, man. I think they're going to have a hell of a battle if it becomes the Spurs who they have to play in the Western Conference Finals because the Spurs are not scared of them. And they've shown now that they're ready for these playoff moments. But if they get past that Spurs team and they are able to win another championship here, there's no way we can avoid the conversation about we have a dynasty brewing in our hands right now because of how deep they are. So, and we could even say barring injury, well, their second best guy's injured and they're still 7-0 in the playoffs. So that's the thing. They're not even 100% healthy. Again, if God forbid, if next year they're making a run and SGA misses the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, you don't think AJ Mitchell could hold it down? Because it already looks like he could. So they are set. They are set for years to come. Get used to it. This Thunder team is going to be around for a long, long time.